Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Fab Rugby. Hello, it's me, Craig. And this week, we're back. It's been, do you know what? It's been ages. The world has collapsed since we last did a proper live stream. So, yes, I'm joined by Christian. Hello, Christian. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How you doing?
And how are you, Will?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you, Craig. All good, all good.
Good, good, good. How is everybody in the chat? It's good to see you all again. It's been a little while, hasn't it? It has been a little while. Yeah, I had some questions for you guys in the chat. And actually, today, we did a thing online where we do these unpopular opinions. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't tend to put a lot of them up because some of them are so bad. But you know what, you guys? You've got free reign today. So for the next 3 or 4 minutes, let's go. I want to see your most unpopular opinion and we'll discuss them. And I want them to relate to the Six Nations, though. So, hey, Archie, how you doing, mate? Hello, Ollie. Hello, Etienne. How you doing, mate? Hello, Darren. Hello, Stefan. I think it's Stephen. Stepan? Yeah, hey, Freddie. How you doing, mate? So, yes, it's unpopular opinions time. So, I've got a few already while you guys get yours in. So, if you've got an unpopular opinion about the Six Nations, so I'm going to ask you two, so Christian and Will, about these, okay? And I want you to just simply agree or disagree. Do you know what? I'm going to be even more controversial, and I'm going to say I don't want an explanation. I just want to, and I want you to be truthful, and whether you agree or disagree. So it can be completely truthful with this, and I'm not going to ask you any further questions on it. Okay, first one from Ben08 Hewitt said, Italy won't get the wooden spoon this year. Christian?
Oh. Disagree.
Will?
Disagree.
Okay, we're going to go into our predictions a little bit later on, so we'll go into that. I'm going to come to the chat. Hey, Matthew, how you doing, mate? Right, this one comes from Rugby Saracens 1, who says, Eddie Jones should stop being a contrarian, which I had to look in the dictionary to find out what that word was, and pick Sam Simmons. Will?
Disagree.
Christian?
Agree.
Oh, okay. Right, we'll keep going, guys. I'm going to come to yours in a second. If you've got an unpopular opinion, drop it in the chat and I will come and see what you guys are saying. Welcome along, everybody. It's great to have you here and joining us. I'm just going to finish off with these few. I'm doing each team, so we've done 2 so far. Cam Redpath will be the breakthrough Scotland need. This is from C.S. Kelsey. Christian?
Disagree.
Will?
Disagree as well, yeah.
Okay, next one. Archie Art. It's Scotland's year. Will?
Disagree.
Christian?
Agree.
Okay. Ooh. Harry Downing says Dan Lydia is going to make a big difference to Wales. Christian?
Agree.
Will?
Yeah, I agree as well.
Okay, the final one before I'm going to come to you guys and see what you guys are saying. This one's from Johnny Co 77. The Six Nations should go back to 5 nations and create a brand new tournament for Italy, Georgia, and other teams like that. Christian?
Disagree.
Will?
I also disagree,
Okay, right. Let's see what everybody's saying in chat. Okay, so Josiah said Elliot Daly shouldn't be in the England squad. Disagree or agree, Christian?
Agree.
Will?
Disagree.
Farrell is overrated. Freddie Clark says agree or disagree, Christian?
Disagree.
Will?
Agree.
Oh, you're going to the chopping block for
don't
that.
Let Shona hear you
don't
that.
let Shona hear that. I tell you, she's going to be on the blur in a second. I can already tell. Duncan Weir should be starting for Scotland. That comes in from Connor Long. Hey Connor, how you doing, mate? Welcome along. Let's go, Will. So Duncan Weir should start for Scotland. Well, we'll do one more after this. So make it a good one. Somebody in the chat.
Finn and I disagree.
What about
me and Finn Russell?
Christian?
Agree.
Ooh, there's been quite a few disagreements. I like that. Right, the final. I'm telling Shona that someone's put. Yeah, Ollie, that's good work. Todd William, definitely. Okay, guys, right. Just a quick one, just while we're chatting to you and stuff. Can you hear us all nice and clearly? Can you just let me know in the chat? Can you hear us nice and clearly? And yeah, and then we'll get underway. So you can. I just want to make sure you guys can hear everything we've said so far. One that's just come in from Leo Reed says Maitland is the most consistent winger in the championship. Christian?
Agree.
Ooh. Will?
Disagree.
I'm not going to pretend like I watch the Championship very often, to be honest.
Okay, right. So the final one. Yeah, okay, we're all good. We're all good. Welcome along, Charlie. How you doing, mate? Welcome along, Tom. How we doing? Great that you can hear us all. Right, okay. Shall we get into it a little bit? Let's get into it, and we're going to get started. I hope this doesn't go wrong. The way today's going, this could go wrong, but we'll go with it anyway and see what happens. So, England then. Let's start with England. We all want to know about England, so let's go to England. So, their last 5 results have been win. Don't know how many that was. World ranking of 2nd. I've put the player to watch as Max Malins. I've put England's early preparations were disrupted after COVID, basically. So Matt Proudfoot, the coach, was affected and tested positive, and Eddie Jones and Simon Amor had to be isolated for 10 days. Jones has also been restricted to a squad of 28 men. Just to reduce the risk of spreading coronavirus. We've obviously had a few names drop out recently with the likes of Launchbury, Sam Underhill, Joe Marler. Sinclair's obviously banned. Mako Vunipola injury still we're not sure about yet. So only once in the last 10 campaigns, though, have England slopped out of the top 2. So what do we think of England this year? I'm going to come back to the main one. So yes, England. What do we think of England, guys? In the chat, let me know. What do you think is going to be successful for England this year? Is it win at all costs, or what do you think? So I've got a question let's start with Christian. What would you like to see from the England setup, from the England team, the England rugby team, this Six Nations? What do you want to see this campaign?
I'd like to see the new players that have been called up, such as Randall, actually utilised. And try, because Randall's so quick off the base of the breakdown, he can create some proper good attacking rugby for England. Proper get him on the front foot, and because we all know that England can defend, we've shown that in previous games and tournaments and stuff. But I think that if we can really show a bit of flair, take a bit from the French, get a bit of French flair, but make it some English somehow, and then I think we need to play exciting, go forwards, attacking rugby. And I think result-wise, I think a Grand Slam's achievable. I think we can do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. They start a campaign against Scotland on Saturday, and I can see quite a few in the chat. Josh put in a lot. Lose to Scotland. Etienne saying lose, draw, lose. Yeah, you know what? You can read it. It's there. Read it. Use your eyes. Ben says, I'd rather see us. I don't know what it says. Seconds and experiment entertaining rugby and new players rather than finish top playing boring rugby with the same team. Archie says Randall is England's DuPont. Ooh, it's an interesting comparison. Give Randall a chance against Italy, Freddie says. Ollie says France, the only hurdle, deserved more from the 2026 nations, so we'll be looking for retribution. Malins and Earl need to be used more than 20 minutes per game. Okay, Will, I've got a question for you. And this is something actually I thought over the weekend, and I'm going to mention it again a little bit later on because it's going to come into play. But obviously we had Europe cancelled in the Premiership. Well, we had European rugby cancelled. A lot of the teams adjusted, played games, and Scotland, for example, let players like Hogg and that go this weekend. And I kind of wanted to... do you think that's going to affect England this weekend, the fact that players aren't matched up? Saracens lads haven't played for 2 months.
Yeah. I mean, that's the sort of thing that caught my eye, is that it's no secret that England use Saracens as their sort of backbone in the squad. Their captain's coming from there. But those guys haven't played since September August sort of time. And also, I think that on the flip side of it, a lot of players who have been playing in and out in the Premiership, people like Johnny May, for example, with Gloucester, have been playing loads of rugby since the restart in July. I do think there's a lot of mix of players who might be not sharp enough because they've played so much, and not sharp enough because they haven't played as much. But Eddie Jones will work his magic, and I'm sure he'll be able to find a good blend to put out against Scotland.
Do you think they'll have been affected by the fact that Eddie's been kind of not able to be there at the start, or do you think it's not going to make that much difference?
I think we've seen it a few times in the sort of the next level documentaries which England Rugby have done. That a lot of the coaching is player led, and the people like Ben Youngs and Owen Farrell and Mario Toje really seem to be holding the reins when it comes to a lot of training sessions. So they would have sort of known what to do, and they have sort of a bigger team around them. So I don't think it will cause too much of an issue, but we might be able to see sort of little blips that we might not expect from an Eddie Jones side.
Okay, let's see what you guys are saying about this. Leo said, I reckon Russell's going to determine the outcome of the Calcutta Cup. We'll get on to Scotland very shortly. Aaron says, hey Aaron, how you doing? Welcome along again. As long as we don't lose to Italy or Wales, I'm fine. Just glad to see Max in the squad. Josh says, I want Earl on the bench so I can use him as my super sub on official Six Nations fantasy. Yes, guys, I should mention actually, we are doing a fantasy on the Rugby magazine. If you want to come and join us, we're doing that. It's very competitive. It's too late to join the Premiership because there's one person leading it. I don't mean to brag, but absolutely smashing it at the minute. Right. Tara says, really Scotland will be the tough contenders this year. Freddie says, we say this, but Eddie will pull it off. And that's the thing. Eddie's for me personally, I think we need to see more from England. I really hope we are going to see more from England. I watched his interview yesterday on BT. I thought it was really interesting. He talked about the 10%. Basically, when he picks a squad, he always tries to bring 10% of new blood into a squad. And I think that's quite interesting. Like that, it doesn't matter. He just wants to bring new blood. So you have a core, and then you add players in rather than a massive overhaul, which is the case for some teams. He seems to we've got our core there, but then we've seen Joseph dropped for this Six Nations, so it shows nobody is invincible. But there are certain players who have definitely been playing in that part of that squad right from the beginning of Eddie Jones, like I don't know what you call it, coaching time with England. So yeah, it's certainly interesting. Let's see what everyone else is saying. I'll come to your final thoughts on England in a second, guys, if you've got anything. It says all this chat. Thorley should be in the chat. Chinny 2004 says, quick yes or no. Thorley in the chat. Thorley in the squad. Yes or no. Will?
No, not for me.
Christian?
Yes.
Ooh.
I like him.
Okay. Etienne says Ireland will beat England to second place and French comes down. Dupont will be top try scorer for me. We're going to get onto that in a shortly. Ollie Lawrence. Yeah, we should talk a little bit about Ollie Lawrence. Like, I want to ask something that's not necessarily Six Nations. Will he stay at Worcester? And I know this is not Six Nations, but do you think to get the best out of him, he's going to need to move on? Sorry, Worcester fans, but just a very quick Will.
Yeah, I think that's always going to be a rumour, and he's going to have those options on the table. At the moment, I think he's getting the best out of Worcester at the moment, and I think the people they're bringing in a lot of experienced heads that they're bringing in the coming seasons. I think they'll help him grow as well. So yeah, I don't think Worcester fans should worry too much, but Ollie Lawrence, you never know.
What about Marcus Smith, Christian? Do we think he is ready now? He's playing really well in the Premiership, and do we think could we see him before the end of the Six Nations in an England shirt, or do you think it's still too soon?
No, I think it's too soon. I mean, he definitely won the battle of the 10 shirt yesterday up at the Rico, but I think he's still got a lot more to learn, and I think he controls the game really well. But I think there's definitely bits where I've seen him fluster and sort of make the wrong decision, whereas someone like Owen Farrell or George Ford, who's currently occupying the 10 shirt for England, they're much. I think they managed to keep their composure slightly more, but I think that comes with experience within the international setup. These guys are veterans within the side, and I think that once Marcus Smith gets himself into the England setup, I think that he'll make that 10 shirt his own. I think. So
I've got a few people saying. Gaspard Hellier says, if Smith doesn't get in this year, I suspect he'll end up going to France. There are rumours that he's considering leaving, but we'll see. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll see a lot more about that. He's hot property at the moment, I would say, in the transfer market. If he gets in the squad, he can learn from Faz and Ford. Right, okay. We'll move on from England because I want to talk about France now, and let's move over to France. Oui. There you go. That's my French for you today. My beautiful accent. As always, it's good. The last 5 results: loss, win, 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 win. world ranking of 4th. I put the player to watch as Antoine Dupont. I don't think that's any surprise, is it? Let's be honest. Start their campaign away in Italy. France are actually able to compete in this year's Six Nations at the moment. I need to state that at the moment, with the French government confirming visitor sides will be exempt from the current 7-day isolation rule, subject to change. That's the important thing about that. France will have to make do without injured fly half Romain Ntamack. And France were runners-up to England in the Six Nations and Autumn Nations Cup in 2020. I'm building well towards the Rugby World Cup in France in 2023. Also showing impressive depth in the Autumn Nations Cup. That was kind of... Hold on, let me switch to here. That was my takeaway, I think, from the Autumn Nations Cup. Out of all of it, other than maybe Fiji were amazing when they played, and I'm just gutted we didn't see more of them because I think that would have changed the whole feel of the tournament. France, though, I think the depth that we saw in the final, the quality, the players they've got coming through are looking very, very impressive. And my question for you, Will, on this one is, what's been the key to France's revival? Because it wasn't that long ago, they were a bit shaky and, well, France being France, or the French being the French. And yeah, they've had a bit of a revival, and it's kind of, they're looking ever so good now. And obviously they've got no Ntamack. Are they going to miss him?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the main sort of points of their revival has been the introduction of a Mr. Edwards into their coaching setup. Sean Edwards has been really revolutionary in sort of just giving them a bit more of a structure. And I think that also comes with Antoine Dupont and Romain Ntamack being the starting 9 and 10 consistently week in, week out, and have been able to perform really well and control the game. With Ntamack gone, I don't think it should be too much of a worry for the French. They have got Mathieu Jalibert and Louis Carbonel, both who are the most Frenchiest French players ever. They will chuck 50-meter passes from their own try line, and they'll probably end up scoring from it. They're those types of players, and I'll be really excited to see both of them getting a run. We saw Jalibert in the game against England at the end of the Autumn Nations Cup. I think we'll see more of Carbonel as well, and let's hope that those two youngsters get more run.
Absolutely, they've got some real talent coming through, and obviously Dupont running the show. Literally, I don't think it's dumb of me to say he's the best 9 in the world right now. Arguably, you could put him as the best player in the world. He's that good at the minute. He's that important to that team. It's going to be... Yeah, it just... Everything about him is just good. Like, you know, you just watch it, you're just like, he's just good. He's just a good... solid player at 24 years old. He is a class player. Let's see what you guys are saying before I come to Christian's question. 2 words. Cameron Waukee. Yes. Jalibert and Carbonell are both outstanding young fly halves. Also, James Simmer says they'll miss Ntamack, but Jalibert will still do well. Josh says Anthony Below is to start at 10 for France. Who's better, Carbonell or Jalibert? I'll come to you, Will, for that one. Who's better, do you think? I know.
I think Jalibert has a slightly bit more experience, but there are some clips of Louis Carbonel, who he's just like so French, smiling at the defence under the post as he takes a conversion right and nails it between the posts for a win. I remember he did that for a game against Toulouse, and he just has fun with the game, and he's such an entertaining player to watch. Reminds me quite a lot of Danny Cipriani in his prime. So yeah, I think Jalibert probably takes it for now, but by the time he gets to 2023, could be Carbonell.
Very nice. Right, Christian, your question on France then. Have France finally shaken off their crazy moments? They are known for doing French things. So we had the famous elbow in the World Cup semi? No, quarterfinals, isn't it? So they do have a tendency. They did it, was it Scotland, when the lad punched, I can't remember his name off the top, when he punched the Scottish lad. And it's just like, They just have them. They just have their moments where you just like,
what are you doing?
Are they gone though? That's what I want to know. Has Sean Edwards, or will he? Do you think he's knocked it out of them now? Or do you think they are now, and I mean this, real contenders and building very, very nicely for the World Cup? Obviously, what do we expect from this Six Nations? But has he knocked it out of them?
I mean, I think we're getting a much more composed France as like at the moment, which is I think Sean Edwards doing. But I think that just the fact that the team's probably got a bit more, they're working together a bit better. You know, there's fluidity between all the players, which I don't think maybe has been there quite as in the past. But I mean, he's quite a scary bloke, isn't he? So I think I think you'd listen to him if he starts yelling you in Northern. So
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So, yeah, I've just seen someone. Gaspard says Jerome Garces has been helping the French 15, and he's been helping them with breakdown penalties and helping them understand. I think I might be wrong in saying this, and maybe Etienne, I know you're in the chat, so you might be able to pick me up on this. I might be wrong in saying this, but I'm sure he's actually part of the coaching team. I'm sure I actually read it that Garces is actually part of the coaching team. Like that's the way I read it anyway. So
how's that allowed?
It's not. That's not a bad idea, though.
He doesn't referee them, does he?
Wouldn't ref them. Yeah.
Oh, cool, sure. No,
so
exactly,
it might be maybe someone can let me know in the chat if I'm wrong. I might be completely wrong and I read the article wrong, but that's as far as I read it. That's how I saw it. They do look good at the moment. Matthew says Olivon. Do you know what? He's one of those players that for me goes under the radar, and especially on fantasy, a lot of people don't. I shouldn't really say this with fantasy being picked at the moment, but he's one of those players a lot of people just tend to they forget about. And is it Bernard Leroux as well? The lock they kind of forget about these players, and they are solid, they're solid players and they score big, and they are great players I think that's what the French are now. They're like Christian picked up on it. They are one unit now. They're not like one star or like all over the place. They seem to be all on the same wavelength, and I think they're going to be really tough. They're really, really going to be tough to beat. And looking at their campaign, they go Italy away, Ireland away, but then France at home, England away, France at home. So it's not the easiest of campaigns, but with no crowds, yeah, who knows with the French? Who knows? Right, let's see what everyone's saying, and then I'm going to Craig giving us the fancy knowledge, not too much knowledge. I don't want to give away all my secrets. He's on the staff in the same way Ben Ryan was on the staff as a consultant. Okay, I was unsure. I'm sure I read it. He was part of the setup anyway. Yeah, it's close enough. Okay, right. I think we're done for France. Shall we move on to our neighbours, Ireland? Let's go to Ireland then. Okay, Ireland and Mr. Andy Farrell's team. Last 5 results, win, loss, win, loss. World ranking 5th in the world. I've put the player to watch as Caelan Doris. Ireland finished 3rd in the Six Nations last year and 3rd in the inaugural, and probably only, let's be honest, Autumn Nations Cup. Andy Farrell has recruited Paul O'Connell as the forwards coach, and just to tighten up the line out and drive the standards just that a little bit higher within the squad. Talent out wide, I've put Hugo Keenan is just an unbelievable finisher. And obviously they've got James Lowe, and maybe this could be the tournament we see James Lowe really start to get comfortable in that position if he gets the opportunity. So yeah, I guess, yeah, it's a good player, but Johnny May definitely showed him a clean pair of heels when they faced off against each other. So it's certainly interesting. So I'm going to come to you, Christian, for the first question. Guys, let me know what you think of Ireland's chances, please, in the chat. I'd love to hear what you guys think of Ireland, and where do you think they're going to finish in the chat? Where will Ireland finish at the end of the Six Nations? Christian, your question then. Can Ireland, and this was an issue I felt that when I've watched them in the last year, can they match the physicality that England and France bring to the table, do you think?
I think they're capable of it. I mean, they've got some big ball runners, you know, within the pack and in the backs. You know, they're aggressive on the, you know, aggressive team. But I don't know. I think that maybe it comes down to drilling and, you know, coaching. I think that probably England would get the better of Ireland. I think. I don't know. It'd be an interesting one against France. But yeah,
they host. Ireland hosts France, so it's in Dublin. Do you think? Yeah. Who do you think is going to come out on top in that clash?
I think France will win. I think France will take that game.
Okay, right. Let's come. Someone's headphones come out.
It might be Will.
I'm all good.
I can hear me coming back. Has someone got it playing or something? Sorry guys, bear with. Weird. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's see what everybody else is saying. There we go. It's sorted now. So Gaspar says 4th for Ireland. I can see Scotland getting a plucky win against them. Grand Slam being biased. Josh Watson says Freddie Clark says 3rd. Actually, Ireland going to upset France this year. Finished in 3rd, still behind France though. Great Tree Swinger says Ireland will be shooting for 2nd, beating either England or France, but 3rd is realistic. Can we have fancy tips? I might think about doing that for a different show. I'll tell you what. I'll do the fancy tips next Sunday or next Monday for last weekend. There you go. That'll be the tips. Darren says France will beat Scotland in the final and Ireland 3rd. Leo says Bern is the worst second choice. And do you know what, Leo? You've read my next conversation, which I'm going to ask Will, which is there a worry that Johnny Sexton is still too much of an influence in that team? Now, what I mean by that is, if he's took a few knocks recently, if he gets another knock and he can't play on, have they got anybody that, like, yeah. What are they going to do? Who would you put in at 10 there if you were going to pick anybody? And go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really remember the last time I watched Johnny Sexton play a full 80 minutes. He always seems to get a bit of a knock or have something along those lines. So, yeah, I think that could potentially be a worry for the Irish. We saw Conor Murray play at 10. I can't remember exactly which game it was, but it was an emergency sort of situation. He played at 10 and he played well. And I remember Andy Farrell after that game sort of hinting at the fact that he could play there again. I don't think he would start at 10, but you've got McGrath, who is comfortable at 9. You could potentially have starting at Sexton, and then maybe Conor Murray slipping into 10. You have got Billy Burns and Ross Byrne, 2 players who are promising 10s. So nothing really close to Sexton, but nonetheless will do a job. So I think Ireland's main worry is just putting Sexton in a bit of bubble wrap and just protecting him and making sure that he can get through a full 80 every week. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to say the least.
Okay, well, let's see what everybody's saying. Freddie's saying Billy Burns is a good backup. Madigan has been incredibly good, Ollie says. Gaspar says Sexton will play 10 in 2027 at this rate. Yeah, it'll be Sexton at 10 for Ireland and Young's at 9 for England. That's going to be the way it's going to go. He played a full 83 weeks ago against Ulster. Josh says Billy Burns should get a chance. Ben says Ross Byrne. Freddie says it was against Georgia. I think that's the Conor Murray one you're looking for. Yeah. Sexton is 34. JP says, hey James, how you doing, mate? Makeshift Murray at 10. Madness. Burns and Byrne have to be given their head. Retire Sexton now. Ooh, that's harsh. That is harsh of that one. So, bin Sexton before it's too late. Yeah, Sexton is their captain, so he'll start. But I would have preferred Ryan as captain. I'll tell you one quick one while I continue on Ireland, and then we'll finish with Ireland. Caelan Doris, for me, is the first name on the Lions, or one of the first names on that Lions team sheet. Agree? Disagree?
I think he's the modern 8. He is the definition of the modern 8. He's very athletic. He's got that Leinster sort of twang to him. He's very disciplined, and he works very hard at the breakdown. I mean, you think about it. Yeah, that definitely very well could be a possibility, especially if Sam Simmons isn't given any sort of national call-ups. I don't really see someone like Faletau. Nothing really from Scotland. I think it definitely could be an opportunity for Doris to shine if he performs well this Six Nations.
So I can see a few people coming in with some comments. Sexton is on 9. I thought Sexton was on 100 caps because didn't he get that in the last game? So it'll be 101. I might be wrong. There might be some. Hold on, wait. Did they include the Lions in it? That's what I think they did, and it threw me. I think they included the Lions as international caps. To me, they're not. I know that sounds daft, but they're just not. It's a different. The Lions is on its own at the top in that aspect. Right. Yeah. Brian Bernolly says, yes, he's performing very well for Bristol at the moment, but I don't know what selection policy, whether they... I don't actually know. I don't know if they can select or not. I don't know.
No, that's why Billy Burns headed over there.
Doris was under 20 captain a couple of years ago. Well, I'm not going to get into too much Lions chat because I know everybody's like, Lions, I just want to talk. Like, the time will come where we don't even know where it's going to be yet. Calm down, everybody. Yeah. Right. On that note, shall we talk about Italy? Our favourite team in the Six Nations. Everybody's favourite team. You right? Yeah? Cool. Right. Italy. Right. Italy. Last 5 results. Well, lost. 14th in the world currently. You can see the fixtures on screen there. Player to watch, Paolo Garbisi. And what have I put about Italy? Well, Italy went without a test victory in 2020, losing all 8 of their fixtures, conceding 5 tries per game, and only once did they manage more than 20 points. They haven't beaten a Tier 1 nation, and this blew my mind earlier, since the 2018 win over South Africa in November 2016, and we'll be hoping to end a run of 27 consecutive Six Nations defeats. Halfbacks, though, are the key, with Stephen Varney and talented Paolo Garbisi in control, but can Italy be consistent? The absence of Matteo Minozzi, the fullback, says he's neither mentally nor physically up for it. Certainly an interesting discussion I put after that. Okay, switch back. So, yeah, Italy. It's a difficult one because they've lost their best player. Let's be honest. Their best player is injured, is out for a while in Jake Pelledri. And, Will, are they going to miss him and are they going to miss Minozzi?
Yeah, I mean, of course they're going to miss Jake Pelledri. He was absolutely instrumental. I remember in their game against England, he was the one shining light in what was a pretty disappointing performance at the tail end of the Autumn Nations Cup, or was that Six Nations? It's all blended into one for me. Can't remember. But yeah, it's a difficult one. Matteo Minozzi, after his performance yesterday against Harlequins, I think he's really lost his edge. When he was playing in Italy, I'm pretty sure he was at Benetton. I might be wrong. He might have been at Zebra. Correct me, please, in the chat.
They will. Don't worry.
Yeah, I know. They're on it. They're on it. But when he moved over, I think he sort of lost that. He lost in that Wasps back line. He's been moved around quite a lot, and I think Jaden Hayward sort of made a name for himself in that fullback spot. I'm really excited to see more of Garbisi. I think him, you got Callum Brayley and Stephen Varney at 9. I think those two will be controlling the park as well. And you've got people like Stain. I don't think Stain's in the team, but especially Negri in the back row can hopefully sort of fill in as the understudy to Pelledri, sort of playing that ball in hand, sort of crash ball. But yeah, I don't think that they'll make it very far. But you can only hope.
So Freddie said Pelledri can beat defenders and Minozzi can make something out of nothing. Minozzi plays like a Toulouse player, not a Wales player. He wants massive breaks. It was Zebra. There you go. That's your answer. I told you the answer was coming in. Okay, I actually did see a comment there. That's it from Ben Fuge at the top where he says, "Why are Italy even there? Literally, what's the point?" And that is my question to Christian. Well, is there growing pressure? There is. On Italy to get a result. Or do we think they could be traded out for another team? And I'm not just talking Georgia. Could they actually trade them out for someone like Fiji or Japan or, and this is going to be painful, South Africa? Could we see the Six Nations soon include South Africa?
I kind of hope not. Like, I mean, it's because how do you keep teams from developing? And if they don't have the opposition, in which, yes, sometimes you're going to get hiding, but you can put in a really good performance, learn from the opposition, and put in a good performance and improve your game. Like it does depend a lot who you would bring in. I think for Italy. I mean, if it is Georgia, I think you're probably going to get a similar sort of
less. I think
result pattern.
Truthfully, I think we saw in the Autumn Nations Cup, as much as people have been bigging them up. They're nowhere near. Italy are much more advanced. Personally, Sorry to interrupt.
But then if you're talking the likes of bringing in someone like Japan, who play probably some of the most exciting rugby on the planet, or South Africa or Fiji, one of the Pacific Island teams, then that would be. I think it would benefit the tournament, but I think that the likes of Italy, who would then have to pay in like the B6 nations, it would just be a case of them winning it probably every year. If they're playing a secondary tournament. So it's kind of it's a tough one to talk about, because you don't want to stop development of the sort of second tier teams, but you also want a competitive tournament where any team out of the 6 could take the trophy.
Someone's just put, if South Africa joined, we would see 32-12 every year. Etienne, I'm going to do this chat in the daytime in the future, so you can't come out from underneath your bridge when you're trolling like that. It's traveling away to South Africa would be annoying. Yeah, this is the thing, but it's still in the time zone. Then that's the thing that annoys me about the Lions talk at the minute about going to Australia. I'm like, I'm not on board with that idea. I don't want to keep talking about Lions, but
rugby in the morning.
No, it's no good. I'll end up having to travel. That's the only reason why I went to Japan, because I hate early morning starts. I didn't want to do that, so I was like, that was my solution to it. Definitely don't drop to 5 nations. We need an even number for logistical reasons. Can we add 2 more instead? Make it 8 nations to make the Italy performances noticeable. Scotland have shown how you can develop under a good system. Italy just need that. Please ban Etienne for that. Hey Will, how you doing, mate? Italy, not you, Will. Another Will. It'd be a bit weird if it did that. Italy would suffer financially if they were dropped as well. South Africa's calling code is 3212. Oh, do you know what? That's the most annoying thing about South Africa, and I know we're talking about South Africa on a Six Nations show, is the fact they haven't played rugby. So all they've done in the last year and a bit is just give us. We've not had anything else but to just give us sticks, so get over it.
Very cool.
Get over it. We've won the Autumn Nations Cup. We are champions. That's all that matters now. Nobody cares about that. Yeah, the Autumn Nations Cup is definitely bigger than the World Cup. Do you know what I was thinking about earlier? That trophy, I bet if you put that out in a quiz in about a month's time, what trophy is this? No idea. Never. I couldn't even tell you what it looked like now, actually, to be fair. Let us have this. Etienne's causing trouble. He absolutely is. Right. Let's go back to, where were we? Italy. No, we've done Italy. We've done Italy. We've done Italy. We've moved on to South Africa, apparently. There you go. That's the way this conversation's going tonight. Okay, let's get back to the 6th. Autumn Nations is greater than the Rugby World Cup plus the Lions. Right, we're moving on very fast now. Okay, Scotland. The last 5 results. Loss, win. World ranking of 7th, and the player to watch. Well, let's be honest, there's only one. Finn Russell. England? Oh, sorry, guys. Scotland's 2026 Nations campaign got off to a slow start as they were beaten 19-12 by Ireland in Dublin before England won 13-6 in awful, and I mean awful, conditions at Murrayfield, finishing 4th in last year's campaign. Finn Russell is key after being left out last year after falling out with Gregor Townsend after a few cheeky bevs in a hotel. After, I think it was before the tournament even started, during a training camp. Can Scotland start well against England? We'll find out this Saturday. That's the opening game. And noticeable addition. Okay, there is one person in this squad who made me go, no, I'm going to switch back. And I saw it, and I literally was fuming. I'm not going to lie. I was fuming. Cameron Redpath should not be playing for Scotland. I'm not having it. Like, England need a good 12. Like, why? Why did he go there? Like, that annoyed me so much. So much. But yeah. Christian, how can Scotland be... Let me know in the chat what you guys think about Scotland, please. No, don't... Not what you think about Scotland, what you think about Scotland rugby teams. Let's keep it nice and cool in the chat. Let's keep it nice and PG in the chat, please. Right, Christian, I'm coming to you. How can Scotland beat England this weekend?
I think got to dominate the forward pack, play Scott Steele at 9, play Finn Russell at 10, and let those two just work the magic.
Do you think he'll... Oh, sorry, go on. Keep going.
No, go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, do you think he'll start Redpath, though?
I don't know.
I think he's going to be on the bench. I think he's going to be on the bench minimum. Yeah. Just because I think they're going to bring him on so he gets capped, so that it screws up. Do you know what I was really hoping for was the fact that Eddie Jones was going to pick him as well, so that it'd be like this complete Eddie being Eddie, just being like, "I've picked him, mate. Don't matter, mate. I've picked him." Like
sing both national anthems, halfway kit, standing on the halfway line.
Let's see what everybody's saying. I'm going to come to you. That's one, Christian. While I'm looking in the chat, James Lang. What do you think about his moving up north, up to Scotland? Are you happy with that as a Quins fan? I'll go slightly off topic from Six Nations, but he's obviously a Six Nations player. Do you think it's going to benefit his Scotland career by going up there?
I think it would benefit his... Yeah, definitely. I mean, he did get the call up, obviously, while he was already at Quins, because he's got a couple of caps now, hasn't he, for Scotland? But I think he's a solid 12, and he can cover at fly half. And he's come up for Quins on a few occasions where, we've not had... Well, Marcus Smith's gone off or something. I remember I think it was when we beat Saracens at home a couple of seasons ago, and he played the 480, and he controlled the game really well and pretty much, won the game for Harlequins in that. But I think he's a good sort of utility player. I think if there was an opportunity for someone to own the shirt, I don't think it would be him. At 12, I think if you got the likes of Cameron Redpath or another to come in, I think he's, I don't want to be mean, but he's a little bit of a bench warmer for international rugby. I think I don't think he would necessarily make the starting 12. Fair. Should someone who comes into form, I think, coming in.
So for me, I look at that Scotland team and I look at the players they've got available, and I think they have got a very good team. And I mean that. Like, that backline could be for me, if I was picking the Scotland team right at this moment, I'd go Finn at 10. At 12, I'd go Redpath. I would get Hutchinson in. I know I'm going to be slightly biased. But when you've got somebody strong playing inside of him, Harris has been playing well as well, to be fair. But Hutchinson showed against Gloucester today just how good a player when he's got someone solid on the inside of him that's a good inside centre, Hutchinson just rips it up, absolute terror up. But they've got some great talent there. And I saw Darren's comment there say, jokes aside, Scotland have a really good chance. And yeah, I'm kind of in that boat as well. I don't think that it's going to be an easy game on Saturday. And actually, on that topic, there's a really interesting question I thought I'd ask you, Will. This weekend we saw Stuart Hogg play. We saw Johnny Gray play. Scottish lads have been playing recently. Do you think they've got a bit of an upper hand here? Do you think England are going to go in a bit under-prepared? I know they have training camps, but is there a danger that Scotland could be right on it, right away, and Finn just tears us to pieces right early on?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they're sharp, and I think they will be sharp. And there's a few players in there that I think could properly make an impact. I think Van der Merwe, it was impressive towards the end of the 2020 campaign. A few names that sort of haven't been mentioned in that backline already. Hugh Jones has been just consistent for Scotland, and also Duncan Taylor has been introduced back into the fray. We haven't seen him much, obviously, because of injury, and he plays for Saracens. So it's been quite unfortunate for him. But yeah, I think that they're at a real crux point in their sort of history at the moment. A lot of players are reaching their peak, and if they set off on the right foot against England, and in the first 10 they come out with people like Hamish Watson turning the ball over, and Johnny Gray getting all stuck in there, and Stuart Hogg running the backfield, I think that it could catch England off guard potentially.
Right, let's see what you guys are saying. Need Hugh Jones at his best, can be a world-class 13 on his day, Leo Reed says. Ollie Wallace says Russell, Taylor, Hutch. Josh says Price, Russell, Lang, Harris, Van der Merwe, Hogg, and Maitland. And Deffer could be a close one for sure on Saturday, Matthew says. And this is a really good point, actually, Gaspard. And Gaspard, thank you for joining the chat. If you don't subscribe, guys, make sure you do subscribe, because Gaspard, you're coming up with some great points here and really enjoying the input. For years, Scotland have only cared about beating England in the Six Nations. And do you think that's possibly if they start to think a bit broader, they could be a real dangerous team? Like, I'm not just talking this Six Nations. They could really develop and build into a top team.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I felt like it at the Autumn Nations Cup. And actually, it was the last weekend of the Six Nations. You look at the team and you're like, wow, those lads are playing so well for their clubs. They come into the international, it just falls to pieces. And it takes them a little while. Then suddenly they'll turn it on. But I think it's the promise of Scotland that is certainly the challenge. I think it's the promise that we know they've got the talent there, but they just don't seem to use it as such. Yeah. Any other?
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say that I think that sort of two-dimensional way of thinking of, oh, we just want to go out there and beat England. We just want to go out there and just make a nuisance of ourselves. I think they've got to properly think about the bigger picture now. And as I sort of mentioned before, this is a pivotal point for them. There are so many sort of indications that this could be a really successful Six Nations for them. So if they just focus on themselves and focus on improving the talent that they already have, rather than focusing on the opposition and who they're up against that particular week, and just put their heads down and get to work, I think that we could see some really surprising results from the Scots.
Yeah,
I hope we do.
Yeah, I think the Six Nations is better when Scotland are playing well, and
yeah,
I want teams to be stronger, and we're going to move on to Wales in a second. I'm going to talk about them in a little bit, about a similar sort of vein, actually. I'm just going to see what everybody's saying. Leo says, as a Scot, it's true. We only care about the England game. Wales annoy us too, as we always beat their club size and don't think we are below them. Matthew says, the thing is, they really do have some great players, should be better than they are, really. David Mehusen is in talks with Scotland Rugby at the minute, another South African. The Scottish Rugby needs to get their act together for Scotland to perform at the potential, though. What is Scotland? Who is Scotland's best player to partner? Oh no, what is Scotland's best player to partner? Johnny Gray. Anyone?
It's a tricky one. Who have they selected? They've selected obviously Richie Gray. Alex Craig. Yeah, Alex Craig, Gloucester.
Grant Gilchrist.
Skinner. Is Sam Skinner been called up? I can't remember seeing.
No, he's not on the list.
See, that's a weird one, because I always think he's to me he's a definite starter in any game. Like, he's a class player. This is all from a fan's perspective. You really think Scotland only care about beating England? Well, it's just a conversation. It is a fan forum. We're not players. Relax, enjoy it. And the Great Tree Sugar says they have a very good chance of an upset. Yeah, absolutely. I think they've got the players. It's just whether they can put it into action and get it to click on. Like we saw them destroy England in the second half, and then draw.
If they could have kept their composure in that match, then they could have run away with it.
Yeah. What was the stat I saw? I saw earlier on. Hold on. I've got it here somewhere. Scotland haven't won at Twickenham since 1983.
Oh.
There you go.
Wow.
That shows you just how how much of a challenge that's going to be. Skinner mission is ridiculous. I have to agree. It's bad the amount of foreigners as a younger player in the academy setups and ambitions to make it is annoying. That's the spot. But then Wales went through that as well. I should say Wales did that as well. They went through it with like Shane Howarth, and I'm going real back now. Like, they brought in a load of players like Kiwis and that, and they kind of, was it Hadley Parks as well, was one of them as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, big time.
England have obviously done it as well. It's not a new thing. Scotland did catching up with it and whatnot. 38, yeah. Okay, right, let's move on.
Can I say one thing
go on.
that might play into Scotland's hands on Saturday?
Go for it.
Is it's an empty stadium.
Ooh. Hold that point. Hold that point.
I will.
Because I want to talk about Wales now. So let's go on to Wales. Okay. Wales, world ranking of 9th at the minute. No, ignore the prediction. That's not what it's meant to be. Player to watch, Louis Samet. And what else do I put for this? Pivac is running at a 30% success rate. They beat Italy and Georgia. Pressure to deliver, I put question mark. Did have a number of frontline injuries, though, to deal with in 2020. Let me know in the chat what you guys think of Wales at the moment. Ken Owens is back, as well as Navidi, who could make up a back row with Tipperick and Faletau. Alan Wynne-Jones is heading in. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this stat? Alan Wynne-Jones is heading into a staggering 16th Six Nations Championship.
That's more than I am old.
That is
That's
mind-blowing. Like, that is absolutely mind-blowing. So,
Wow.
He's been around a while as Alan Wynne. Okay, right. Let's talk a little bit about Wales then. So they start against Ireland on Sunday, actually, 3 p.m. on Sunday in Cardiff. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to come to Christian first for this one because I'm going to pick up on that point. Fans. Now, for me, fans not being in grounds, some teams it's affected in the Premiership. Let's look. Gloucester, Saints. A lot of those teams that are big supporter, close with their fans, are struggling. Wales, they're probably one of the biggest teams for that, I would say. Agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I mean, the Principality is such a cauldron. You know, I've been there for non-Wales games and Wales games, and the atmosphere is like nothing I've ever experienced at the Principality. It's insane. And that is something that players obviously, feed off and thrive off. And especially if you go down in a game, having that sort of oomph behind you is well important. I think that's going to be, especially because Wales haven't been performing particularly well. I think that's could have a bit of a problem for them.
Okay, I'm going to see what everyone's saying. I'm going to come to you, Will, then for your question. The Great Tree Song says Pivet making a huge mistake not selecting the young boys and doing all their work they did in the Autumn Nations Cup. Are you going to do a round one predictions? Yes, we are going to do predictions shortly. We are going to win the Grand Slam, Ben says. Wales are the most overperforming country ever. The fact that a Welsh team hasn't won the Pro 14 playoffs, some Scarlets won it 4 years ago, shows it. Because he needs results first, that's something said about Pivac. And I 100% agree that Wales are overachievers. For almost my whole life, only 1 or 2 Wales players would make it into the England team. The roof's still getting close. Yeah, it's Six Nations on the roof's being talked about. And yet they won Grand Slams in the last 10 years. They absolutely did. Wales to finish 5th. And Ben says, I'm a Cardiff fan and both of his quality and Lewis Hughes didn't deserve to be dropped. Hey, Batman, how you doing, mate? Make sure you subscribe, guys. Make sure you hit subscribe. Also, it does some... I want to see if these work. So if you don't subscribe, hit subscribe for me, just so I know this all works. Wales have the depth and have strength, but the coach, Wayne Pivac, is not the right choice. Wales will struggle and will get sacked. Scott Robinson will come in or Die Young. Die Young's just started obviously at Cardiff. Now, I'm not going to talk... Actually, yeah, Will. I'm going to come to you then. Will we see Wales finally click under Pivac in this Six Nations? Or could this be the end of the line if he doesn't perform? Could they get rid of him this soon? Like, to me, it'd be pretty cold, but what do you think about it?
So I think the chat has sort of summed it up quite well there. I think 2020, Pivac came in and... from an outsider's perspective, he looked at Gatland's game plan and went, right, I'm going to think of something. We're going to go with something completely different. We're going to bring in the youngsters. We're going to rip up this sort of coaching manual. We're going to start again and we're going to build up this Wales team similar to the way that he did with Scarlets. It took him quite a long time to build that Scarlets team. He properly broke it down and built it back up to the Pro 14 final. I'm pretty sure they got to, or they did very well in the Pro 14 with him. But it took him a lot of time. in internationals, you don't have that time because you have less games. So what I think Pivac has done now with this squad is that he has picked that Gatland coaching manual out the bin and gone, actually, maybe I'll have a look at this a little bit. He's picked a few more players that were sort of pivotal in the Gatland era that we've mentioned throughout this show already. He's dropped the likes of Shane Lewis-Hughes and Johan Lloyd to make room for those more experienced heads. I think he's just wanting some good performances now. Whether those will come, I'm not too sure. I think it doesn't help that Dan Biggar has obviously had a difficult time at Northampton. I mean, he's obviously a pivotal part playing number 10. They don't really have a half decent 10 to back him up. I personally don't think so. It's quite a lot rests on his shoulders. So yeah, I think it could be a fairly worrying time for Wales, but hopefully we'll see a bit more Gatland and potentially we might see some half decent results.
See,
Did Sheedy get in the squad?
Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna argue absolutely with you here, Will, because do you know what? Wales need to back Pivac, and actually, Etienne, you're bang on the money here. Toulouse coach Ugo Moller struggled in the beginning with Toulouse, and now they're a top 3 team. So if Pivac gets given time, do you know what the problem with Wales is? They're doing this. Oh, Gatland was good. Yeah. Gatland was good. Sorry, this is a great impression. But what they're doing is they're not committing for me, one way or the other. So Pivac for me needs to go, bang. This is what we're doing. This is the talent. This is the future. This is a style of play. It's half and half and half and half, and it's just back and forth. And I just think the media's telling you to go because Gatland was successful. Let's play like Gatland. But the game moves on. Things move on. Mm-hmm. The sport changes. And Pivac, in my eyes, had the right idea. He could have ridden that. It's gonna be tough for them for a little while they go through a transition. But I think that he would be the right guy to do it, and I truthfully believe that. I'm not just saying that because obviously Wales are struggling. I actually think personally, I want to see Wales get stronger because there's nothing worse than trying to get hyped up for a game and you're talking to Welsh people like, oh, we're going to lose today. It's just like, that's no good for the game. It's no good. I like the rivalry between England and Wales when both teams are at the best, to be honest with you. Let's see what everybody's saying. I'm going to come and we'll finish off with some predictions then. Patchwork22 says, if Priestham moves from Bath to Cardiff, then Wales get a great 10. Yeah, but we saw he was very poor. I know we're picking one game apart here, but he was very poor against Bristol the other day. Freeze from.
Oh yeah, sorry. Off the back of that, I have forgotten Sheedy. Sheedy is now well and truly in that Wales mix. So yeah, if he gets game time for Wales, I think he could be quite a nice backup to Biggar. So I rescind my previous comment.
I can see Fred has put Sheedy there. Nothing to do with Wales, but I recommend Haskell's book. Yeah, Haskell's book is very good. Do a Welsh accent, Craig. No, David, I don't know Welsh. There you go. That's the best you're going to get from me today.
You're brave, Craig.
I'm literally. That's the first thing. You're lucky I didn't include any sheep. It could have gone. That could have gone so wrong. Very quick. Like you don't even realise. Like, oh yeah, it could have gone so wrong. Gatland. Yeah. Cheers, guys, everybody in chat. Gatland at the Chiefs sucked. He proved that his game plan wasn't up to date. Johan Lloyd will be starting 10 in 2023. Actually, yeah, Johan Lloyd. Let's be honest. We don't need to throw any more smoke towards him. He's a star. He just needs to play. That's truthfully. He just needs to find his position and play. But whether he'll get that at Bristol, I don't know. We'll see. But there's so much competition there. We've moved on from Ireland now. Anything else? Cancel Craig. Aaron says, Pivac is the guy, but my dad always tells me that you can tell when they've been in a meeting and Pivac wasn't happy. So, no, the Chiefs just suck in general. That's regarding Gatland. Okay. Okay, so we've done a wrap up of everything that you need to know. If you haven't seen anything, or if you've missed your teams, we've covered every team. We're going to cut this video apart and put them up on Fab over the next couple of days. But it's prediction time. Yes, predictions. Who doesn't love to do predictions and then get absolutely slated for it? Yeah, I do, to be fair.
It's fun.
Quite fun. To be fair, it's quite fun, and yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Right, I'll tell you what, in the chat, let's get ready then. I'm going to come to you guys in a second, but in the chat, I want to hear your 1 to 6, please. So who's going to finish top, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth? So who's going to come last, first to last, first to last? So, who shall I start with first? So in the chat, let's go first to sixth. Let's go first to sixth this year's Six Nations. Drop it in the chat. Let's go. Who wants to go first? You got one ready? Christian?
I've got one, yeah.
Good.
Let's go.
So I've got England finishing top of the table, Scotland in second, France third, Ireland fourth, Wales fifth, and Italy at the
So
bottom.
did you go France third?
France
Who
third,
was second?
Scotland.
Wow, ballsy. That is ballsy. Okay, we'll go with that. Okay, Will, keep thinking. Right.
Okay, thank you.
Ollie said England, France, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Italy. Rory's gone France, England, Ireland, Scotland, Italy, Wales. Freddie's gone England, France, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Italy. I just hope everyone has fun. They will, I'm sure. I got to admit that made me chuckle inside.
I was going to go with that.
Rugby. Don't. No. Rugby's not the winner. Not with the Six Nations. Rugby's never the winner. Okay, I'm going to say this before I come to you for yours, Will. Don't get excited for this weekend. Never ever get excited for the Six Nations start. It's always rubbish. It gets better this tournament, and do you know what? It's so deceptive. So when you're sitting there on Saturday and it's a rubbish game, go, Craig did call it. If it's good, enjoy it. Don't come and give me stick saying it's good. But yeah, it's always rubbish normally. The start of the Six Nations, it takes a while for them to click, and yeah, there you go. Right, okay. Will, coming to you in a second, so be ready. Matthew says England, France, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Italy. Great Tree Swinger. England, France, Scotland, hopefully. Ireland, Wales, Italy. England, Ireland, France, Wales, Scotland, Italy. France, Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, Italy. Someone call an ambulance for Christian. He's hit his head. Leo said France, England, Scotland, Ireland, Italy, Wales. Steve's gone England, France, Scotland, Wales, Italy, Ireland. Gregor's got, hey Gregor, how you doing, mate? Gregor's gone France, England, Ireland. Hold on, wait. France, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Italy. Sorry, the numbers threw me out then. England versus Ireland, 2019 was a good day. Okay, Will, the wait is over.
Yeah.
Let's hear. What have we got from you?
Okay, so I'm going at the top, France. Then I'm going England. Then it's changing every second. Then I'm going with Ireland. Then Wales. Then Scotland. Then Italy.
Ooh, right. I'm going to be controversial. Standard. Okay, let me just quickly look. I just need to double check the.
Italy first.
They're going to win that. They could win that. So I'm going to go England, France. I think that I can't see that being. It's all down to me on the 13th of March. That game. That's going to be the deciding factor for me. So I'm going to go England, France. But then I'm going to go Scotland, Wales, Ireland, Italy. But I think Ireland, Italy. I don't know why. I'm going to be completely wrong. Yeah. But there you go. That's my view. It's going to be really, really interesting. Okay, a couple of bits to finish with then. Who's going to be top try scorer then? That's what I want to hear in the chat. Everybody in the chat, top try scorer this year's Six Nations. Let's hear your predictions, please, and then we can wrap up this show. So I'm going to ask you for top try scorer next. Now, drop it in the chat. Let's go. It's here. Let's go. Who wants? You got one, Christian?
Yeah, Darcy Graham.
Out there.
chucking it out there.
You're loving the Scots today. I feel
Mate, I don't know what's come over
I feel
me.
like if we lifted up the camera, you'd be wearing a kilt right now. That's how Scottish this
Yeah,
has come to. Like,
tartan.
literally, it's going to go into the yeah. I feel like that's the case. Will, what are we going for then? Top try scorer.
I've got a joint top try
You
scorers.
can't do that. That's.
You can. They both score equal. This is even less probable because of a joint. So I'm putting myself out there, apparently. So I am going with Antoine Dupont and Damien Penaud.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be even more. That I'm going to go for a tie. It's going to be a tie between 6 players. whoever
The English pack.
whoever is hooker. That's pretty much.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking at the way games are going at the
enough.
minute, it's going to be someone like Jamie George again, isn't it? Or yeah.
I mean, it was either Charles Olivon or
Charles Olivon scored
the
a few
other
last year, didn't he?
Yeah, because he scored a hat trick in one game, and I think that's always because we've got such little games. Only got 5. Someone scores a hat trick, So it's quite hard to
Right,
predict.
Ben's gone Penaud, Josh has gone Bellini, Batman's gone Louis Samuel or Teddy Thomas, Matthew's gone Dupont, Leo's gone Fiku, James, hey James, how you doing mate? Has gone Dwayne Van der Merwe, Etienne's gone Gabien Villiers, Freddie's gone George, Ollie's gone Lawrence or whoever, France start at 2, Gaspard has gone Pierre Louis Barassi, Darren's gone Dupont or Dwayne. Do you say it's Dwayne, isn't it? Dwayne. Dwayne
Van der Merwe? Yeah. I mean, whatever.
It works, you know what I mean. Guess what's going on? Georges Henri Colombe. Sam Simmons, Josh has gone. Aaron's gone.
Someone scores.
If Sam Simmons,
Not invited.
if Sam Simmons gets like, I hope Sam Simmons doesn't get called up into Six Nations. Every Six Nations, every England squad that gets announced, I am absolutely delighted Sam Simmons isn't selected. Because he's so good at fantasy in the Premiership that I do not want him to leave. I am so happy every time Eddie doesn't pick him. I'm annoyed that Jack Willis has been took. Like, I'm fuming. Like that.
Do you every time Eddie picks his squad, do you run in to Penny Hill and just cross out his name?
Fuming, absolutely fuming with Eddie's selections a lot of the time. When he sticks with like Youngs and that, I'm like, go on, Eddie.
Great.
Keep
Cheers.
my fantasy team going. Simmons only needs 1 game to get it. That's absolutely true the way he goes. Okay, it's D Wayne. Yeah, I thought. Okay, thank you. Okay. Final bit then. Top point scorer then. Who doesn't love a good top point scorer? Who's it going to be? Who's going to be a top point scorer? Unfortunately, Donkey Weir's not in it, so it's not going to be him. Or he could be. Could get called up. Who do we reckon? Will.
I've got to go with Faz. I think that England's discipline will be very, very impressive, and a lot of the time they'll go for the posts. His kicking performance against France beforehand wasn't great, but I'm sure that he's had a lot of time to practice, hasn't he? So yeah, I think it'll be Farrell.
Christian.
I have to be terribly boring, and I Owen Farrell as well. I just think he's going to score a lot of penalties, and I think we're going to put a few tries away. So
fair enough. Finn Russell, Jalibert, Finn Russell, Farrell, Sexton, Dwayne Van der Merwe, Russell, Sexton. If Frostburn lets Sexton borrow his hamstrings, I like that, Josh. I really like that. I'm going to give you that, Josh. It's my favourite comment of the day. There's been a few good ones today. Fazal Tompkins, Bigger's a good shout, you know. Points wise, bound to bang in the points, isn't he?
I think they're just too. It's all about penalties. You've got to get the penalty first before you can kick it, and I think Wales might not be able to get into those positions.
Someone's put Bruce Wayne. The person who put Bruce Wayne was Batman 3434. Obviously, a Batman fan.
I like.
Yeah, you're committing to the theme. I like that. That's going all in with it. Right. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. I'll tell you what. I'll open it out while I do. Is there any questions or anything you want to ask me, him, or him? If you want to ask a question or anything about Six Nations, we might not know the answer. I might just ignore it. Let's being honest. I'm not going to lie. But feel free to get something in. This is your free chance to get everything off of your mind. Everything that's there right now. I want to hear it in the chat. Get it out while I finish off and just wrap up with this. Okay. So this year we've got the Fancy Rugby on for the Six Nations on the Rugby magazine. If you haven't used it already, sorry, Christian's just sent me something. I can't do two things at once. Right. Right, go back to it. So the Six Nations is, we've got it on the Fancy Rugby on the Rugby magazine. If you go to our Discord, if you haven't joined our Discord, all these idiots, most of the idiots are from Discord, the ones that are jumping on in the chat. Come and join us. It's great. We chat rugby, absolute gnaws off 99% of the time. Do you know what? I'm a gnaws, but this lot are different level. They are. You're like super nauseous in the chat, honestly. Right, going back to it. Mission failed, Etienne. What's he done now? Batman isn't posh enough to be a rugby fan. Who will be the breakout star? Christian, go for it. One off the cuff. Who's going to be your breakout star?
I'm a massive fan of Harry Randall, so I really want to see him do some proper good stuff this Six Nations.
Will?
Oh, goodness me, this is difficult. Someone like Cam Redpath, when he gets an opportunity.
I'm not a complete idiot, so I said it was just a general. Yeah, no, just general. Some people are, or some people are just not very good at fancy, eh, Ollie? Right, basically join Discord. It's anthems rated 1 to 6. Italy number 1, telling you straight away.
Yeah.
Italy number 1.
I like Ireland, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, Ireland 2, France 3.
England.
I think England's just the bottom.
Droll, to be fair.
Oh,
England one should be Jerusalem.
Delilah should be Welsh one. Let's put like Tom Jones. Like, just an absolute banger. Like,
true.
Yeah. So I guess and then Scott. I don't like the. Do you know what? Okay, I forgot. It's that time of the year where we get Flower of Scotland, and then it kept going. And do you know what? It was great when they first did it, but when they did it with the empty stadiums, it was like.
You're like, oh.
I don't want to hear them sing, truthfully. Like, I don't want to hear them sing. All right, okay, right, okay, we're good. I think we're good. French. I like the French national anthem. It's nice. It's joyful. It is. But the Italian one wins by far because it's so like.
Yeah. So Italian.
A few beers inside you can't help but sing along. Like it's so good. And actually, the Irish one's good for that as well. I found out in Japan. I knew every single word for the Irish national anthem. Who knew after a few beers? There you go. Okay. Right. I think we're good. Bets on who will be the player of the championship. Okay. That's one more question then. We'll finish on there. That's a nice end of a question. Player of the championship. Who's it going to finish up with? Who's it going to be this tournament? Because I couldn't tell. Who was it last year? Was it DuPont last year? Or
DuPont. It was Hogg, was it? I don't know. I can't remember.
Do you know what? Hogg's not a bad shout, you know.
Yeah.
It could be Russell. If Scotland really get going, it's going to be Russell, isn't it?
I'm backing Russell then.
In the chat, in the chat, let me know who's going to be player of the tournament. Drop it in the chat. Let's go. And I'm going to finish it off there. So, Will, who's going to be your player of the championship?
I can't look past anyone in that French back line. DuPont, obviously the favourite. Then you've got people like Fiku, Vakatawa. We haven't even mentioned Vakatawa.
Yeah, I think he's injured, is he not?
Oh, no, he is. That's why we haven't mentioned him. Yeah. Very good point. But then you've got people who come into that. The name is Vincent, Arthur Vincent, who would come into that 13 shirt. Penaud, Teddy Thomas, and then whoever they decide to put at fullback, Boutier, Dulin, whoever. I think it's going to be someone there, but I can't really look past DuPont.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Van der Merwe keeps coming. Hey, Hungry Hippo, welcome along, welcome. Earl could be a good shout for player of the tournament if he gets a start. Yeah, no, Underhill could see Earl. It's going to be really interesting to see what Eddie picks with his squad, as long as he doesn't pick Sam.
Is Underhill?
He's pulled out hip injury. He's out for the whole tournament.
Yeah.
He is out.
He's out. Beno Urbano, Russell, just because I think Scotland will do amazing. Right, Christian, anyone else Did you come up with one? I can't remember. It's getting late now. I'm getting tired.
I was back in my boy
You were
Finn.
backing your boyfriend. Well, I'll go Stuart Hogben in that case. I think. I'm going to be honest. I think Stuart Hogg's been one of the most impressive players in the past couple of months. Scott for Exeter, he's really impressed me. And as I've said many times before on shows, I was never a big fan of his, but actually I've grown to become a massive fan of him the more I've watched him in the Premiership. Right, I'm going to disappear.
Cheers.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's blackcurrant juice. Living the dream, as they say.
Yeah.
Right, everybody. Actually, there is one more thing. If you aren't following me on Instagram, you might follow Fab. But I'm doing a cycling challenge at the moment. I'm cycling around all the Premiership grounds. Started today at Rugby School, doing a static bike. Cycling all the way up to Newcastle, down the country, down to Exeter, passing every Premiership club on the way, going past Twickenham, and up to Rugby School again. It's 1,700 kilometres. I'm doing 28 days of it fully. I'm 27 from tomorrow. 60 kilometres a day. I'm doing it to raise funds for Jigsaw's Rugby, who are looking to get equipment to take into autism schools. So yeah, if you want to donate, I'd appreciate it. It would be a massive motivation for me. But yeah, if you want to follow along the journey, head to my Fab Craig account. So type Fab_Craig on Instagram. Come and join me, and you can watch me hate life as I'm doing it. I'm going to need some help and support. I'm going to do a live stream on a bike just for bants. So I look forward to it, guys. Guys, listen. Oh yeah, Amptil Rescue. I will mention that. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, Amptil are looking for help with the championship. But I think that's in the process. There's a few things. Should I drop a rumour? I've got a really good rumour.
Okay.
Or do we like a spicy rumour?
Okay, in the chat, should I drop one more thing? I heard something yesterday. I don't know if I can. Okay, I'm gonna
whisper it. They won't hear.
Okay, I'm gonna whisper this very quietly. Are you listening? Very, very carefully. There's a new rugby game coming. And it's not by the usual developers.
Cool.
Right, on that note, I'm out. There you go.
Let's go.
There you go. I can't tell you anything more because I actually don't know a lot more than that, but that's all I know so much. Right, anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Oh, you have to now. You have mentioned it. I didn't mention anything. This isn't staying live. Nobody clip that.
Rugby
I
game.
didn't say anything. No, I'm out. Right, guys. I'll speak to you later. Take it easy, guys. I will speak to you all soon. Thanks, guys, Will and Christian, for joining me today. It's been an absolute blast. We got there in the end. We recorded it, and happy days, guys. Bye.
Bye.